Oh, you checked it up there?
That doesn't sound nice, no.
Those be in order, please. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please turn off your cell phones. And let's see. All right. Wow, these mics are really good, Mr. Schaefer. Okay. Who we calling?
One character award, Mrs. Griffith, if you come forward and present that, please.
I'm going to introduce to you Miss Rachel Covey. She is the teacher who nominated Michael for this Character Education Award. Michael, can you also come down? I nominated Michael for the Character Award because I feel that in physical education, Michael goes above and beyond. Michael demonstrated daily the characteristics that Raiders strive for. In physical education, Michael always leads by example and makes every effort to help his classmates. Michael's generosity also branches out to the rest of the JLP student body as well. This has been demonstrated by Michael bringing in WE activity games for other classes to enjoy, even when his own class has not earned WE time. Michael is a pleasure to teach in PE and a student I feel is very deserving of this award. Congratulations, Michael, and keep up the good work.
Mr. Sherry, just before you begin, I just take a minute to introduce Jessica Schnaufer, who is the Student Council Secretary, who's with us this evening. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes. All right. Mike, over to you.
Request for specific guidance request for withdraw specific guidance for consistency.
A through O.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now to 8B.
Yes.
Actually, let me interrupt you. This is, sorry, before we go into the business, we're moving along way faster than usual. So, anyone from the public like to come up, and you have 2 minutes if you'd like to speak, and please state who you're with and your name. 2 minutes.
Music teacher, there we go. Mark Fona, music teacher at the elementary building on Main Street. I'd like to read something from the Eaton Teachers Association. And let me say, I've got a couple extra copies of it. I thought I'd give Mr. Buggs and Mr. Cerny that. I don't have enough for everybody, so.
We'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this. Make sure a copy gets
I do have some extra copies here. Here is a list of the larger issues which are affecting what our teachers learn, I gotta start again, put this where I can see it. Here is a list of the larger issues which are affecting what our students learn and the manner in which they learn it. Each of these issues can affect the others, and it is difficult to isolate them in any thorough discussion. We have not listed them out in any particular order of importance. Class size, the use and misuse of data, overemphasis on testing, the narrowing of curriculum, the devaluing of the arts and physical education, the impact of all this on scheduling for students, technology, and teacher autonomy. We are not saying that the administration can necessarily solve or even help out with all the problems that are present in such a list. Much of this is being pushed on us from the state and federal levels and the politics involved there. Let us not forget the presence of those political forces as we discuss the school's problems, and let us not pretend that we are truly thinking for ourselves. Although there is in this discussion things that are outside of our immediate control, it is unrealistic to curtail any such discussion of our needs when teachers have been given such broad mandates and arbitrary goals. We believe it will be of value for you, the board, to think of these issues from the teacher-student perspective. Within the past decade, because of economic tensions, the strain of high-stakes testing, and a heightened political climate, teachers have been feeling more and more isolated in their own buildings and classrooms. Fueled by these factors, the negative publicity that teachers and public educators are constantly accosted with has served to build a wall between us and all those outside the profession. You might think that the only people left with the credentials to speak about important educational decisions are certain celebrated economists, the politicians, and maybe a few concerned, quote-unquote, billionaires. They alone are being allowed to shape the dialogue, and it seems true educators are not to be trusted. In a sense, we feel as though when speaking about our own profession, our tongues have been cut out. We are supposed to accept that we have nothing to say about what we teach and when it is taught, even though we are in constant contact with children who we know are not accepting of a narrow state curriculum and who are not developmentally ready for a mere treadmill of information. We feel powerless to make meaningful contributions to the way our own profession is being managed. Our informed opinions and our years of experience no longer count in shaping this discussion. Nevertheless, the teachers are working hard with the administration to comply with an unending parade of new standards, new goals, new procedures, changing technologies, etc. For a multitude of reasons, we feel there is no one who is going to help with the underlying problems we face. So it should not be surprising to anyone if the teachers are not coming forward to speak about the problems they are facing, especially when speaking about these problems can be viewed as a problem itself. And yet, let me say again, there is not one teacher who will not go the greater distance to work towards these new goals set by the state, carried forward by the administration, and imposed upon the teachers and students. There is only one problem. The state approach is wrong. We know this sounds heretical, but rest assured we will not, and we do not expect anyone here to start a revolution. Again, we will do the work as it is set before us. We do hope that over the next few months, as we present our perspectives on these issues, your opinions will become more informed, and thus you will be better equipped to make the types of decisions you will be faced with. Please help us by listening to true educators and taking the time to understand what good educational practices are. Thank you from the Teachers Association.
That's really well said. And once again, I invite you and the group to help us figure out some of these things. The state does mandate a lot of things, and if there's things we can do to work around it, please come to us and make suggestions.
Thank you. And your openness is appreciated, as the words have meant something, what Colleen read last week or last month, and what I'm reading here. Thank you. I want to thank Mr. Bucks. He's had his door open, but it's a really difficult word, a tough way, you know that. Thank you.
The Eden Teacher Association's membership. Oh, Anita Hoy, I'm sorry. I'm Carol King, and I'm a 7th grade teacher at GLP. I'm also a union representative for my company.
I'm Karen Inman. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Montana and represent EDA representative.
My name is Paula Farrell, and I'm the high school building rep.
The Eden Teacher Association's membership would like to thank the Board of Education for extending the invitation to speak and potentially engage in an ongoing dialogue with the board regarding several areas of concern. The first area of concern we would like to present is the state of technology within our district. Eden teachers support the Board of Education's goals and will continue to work with available resources to meet those goals. However, maintaining and advancing where possible our resources, such as hardware, software, and most importantly, personnel, is critical. Recently, our district has lost significant personnel within the technology department. They are missed by those they provided service to, as well as by their department. They were both valued and sorely needed. Noting this, we must state that we are appreciative of the weight our technology personnel now carry. Another loss was the removal of classroom printers. This has caused innumerable concerns, such as lost copies, lack of confidentiality, the amount of time the machines are inoperative, and others we would be happy to discuss in depth at a scheduled meeting. In addition, a major concern is our power source and its effect on our technological growth, as well as the fact that the GLP is grossly deficient in the necessary wiring needed for up-to-date technology. When poring over several other district technology plans, it became apparent that many of the districts that we are to emulate in achievement are substantially better prepared with technology resources and personnel. This was true not only with larger districts, but also with several that are comparable to Eden's demographics. Realizing we cannot have it all, communicating with other technology departments as well as teachers in order to determine what resources have proven to be of most value seems to be a direction we should consider. With the Common Core instruction at the forefront, technology is bound to play a greater supporting role by supplementing the curriculum materials in a less expensive manner than ordering new publications. While attending a recent Common Core training, we were amazed by the many ways in which other districts were already using technology to support their instruction. We are anxious to continue the exploration of this topic with you, wherein we can discuss it in greater detail. The field of education is no different than any other production company in that its product and achievements are evaluated primarily by comparison. Past, present, and future performances are evaluated and compared, producing information necessary to set future objectives and goals. First, the comparisons are made within the district, but ultimately it is how we compare to other districts that determines what we must aspire to. With defined district-wide goals, trickling down to grade level and subject-specific goals, we are clear as to what we are to work towards as educators. Without question, the desired output has been established. However, the not only desired but required input is not clear, nor has it been discussed, determined, or presented in length resembling its counterpart. The input-output system is a model that supports general equilibrium. The output cannot be realized without the necessary input. Maintaining and enhancing our district's technology is, we feel, an integral part of input. Thank you for your interest and willingness to hear the Eden Teachers Association's concerns.
The infrastructure committee's had one meeting, correct? Okay, were you able to, so you haven't been able to any technology issues and like that? Right. I guess I would offer if there's anything that, any information or some thoughts you have, Mike's the chairman of the infrastructure committee, which handles technology. So some of the research and thoughts that are in there, if you could get that to Mike, that would at least help down that path. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Moving on to new business. First item is appointments. Appoint committee on preschool special education chairperson. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of Superintendent Dana Fazolard, who is a certified speech language pathologist, be appointed to as the committee on preschool special education chairperson.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item 2, extend appointment of long-term substitute physical education teacher. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the appointment of long-term substitute physical education teacher Rachel Covey be extended through June 30th, 2012.
Second.
3, appointment 1.1, teacher aide for extracurricular activities. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Lynn Bidney, be appointed as a 1-to-1 teacher aide for extracurricular activities for a student with special needs to attend after-school activities for 8 days, 2 hours per day.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item 4, appoint school psychology part-time intern. That recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Darcy Kozlowski, be appointed as a school psychologist part-time intern to Joe Weiss, effective January 24, 2012 through May 31st, 2012. Note this: there may be no cost to the district.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item C, approve 8th grade class trip. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the 8th grade class trip to Boston, Massachusetts for June 6th through 8th, 2012 be approved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item D, approve accessing of piano. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, piano number A00067157 from Eden Elementary School be accessed and disposed of as the district deems necessary. Note, this piano is no longer in working condition or worth repairing.
Second.
Discussion? It's not a sequential number of pianos.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's a good number.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item E, award bid for sale of surplus vehicle. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the sale of bus number 166 in the amount of $2,658 be awarded to Casey's Truck Salvage World, Inc.
Second.
Discussion?
Can I just correct that? It should be bus number 161.
We're selling it right now. That's bus 161. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Next item F, accept donation of batting cage. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the donation from the Eden Baseball Club of a suspended batting cage system and remote control unit for the electric winch valued at $6,505 be accepted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item G, approved risk assessment update. The recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the audit committee, the risk assessment update from Bagat and Latoro Bagat be accepted as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Mike, before you make this motion, I think this audit committee did meet. We have some blanks to fill in here. Is that correct? Make a motion.
Yes, the audit committee met last week and reviewed the 2 items that were carried over from last year. The first was, if I'm not mistaken, Lisa help me out. Yes, the 2 areas that we're looking at. First was extra class, senior class had vending machines that inventory documentation was not being submitted to the business office. That's still an ongoing action that Lisa will be working on with the high school principal. And the second was that the district needed to have a disclosure statement of conflict of interest for all board members and key employees, which was accomplished this past year. So that was satisfying. So those were the 2 issues from last year. And then
Questions? We want to have the auditor study next.
right. So we're talking a little bit about there are 6 high-risk areas according to the auditor that would be identified as something that would have a significant impact for us to audit. And one that was suggested by Bagat was transportation, because it involves a number of transactions and also because it is something that hasn't been looked at in a while. So we went back and forth talking about whether one of the suggestions that the audit committee made was to cover personnel, because it involves a number of transactions and about 85% of our our budget for the year. So that was kind of where we left things to bring back to the board to talk about which area might make the most sense. The issue with dealing with personnel is as an audit category is that it was covered, I believe, year before last. So if there's just another area within personnel that we might want to focus on, that might be something to consider, or transportation.
What did they cover in payroll? Exactly.
All payroll transactions, and testing transactions, they follow everything through, make sure the tracks the salary, they might be payroll deductions, trace everything out. What Luann did say is the other area would be personnel, and she would basically be pulling personnel files randomly, making sure certifications were.
Meaning teacher certifications, administration.
Does anyone have any interest in particular areas that they'd like to see studied or tested?
They did school lunch last year, they've done cash disbursements, and they've also looked at extra class activities.
These are on those.
Well, transportation is what they had recommended. Payroll and personnel, as Lisa mentioned, we did 2 years ago. School lunch we did last year. The remaining 3 areas, capital projects, accounts payable, cash disbursements, and purchasing, or extra class activities. We don't have, we're just
But they
looking
go back
at.
and look at all the asset capital projects.
Interim is present on the trails. So we're back. We had a project that goes through.
We do have, we have 2 open right now, don't we?
Two, we have one closing, one's closed out, and one
It's been over the last
last
3 years it's been open. That may not be bad. It's still current. How much was that?
There's been no activity going, any activity.
But how much is that project for?
In total, the insurance decision making is 6.5, and the settlement was 2.6.
It's pretty big amounts of money. Maybe we have to look at those 2 projects. If they're both technically open and we have to have the interim committee has to do something that's ongoing, that would fit. That's just my thoughts. Anyone else have thoughts?
When was the last time we did capital?
They have not touched it.
The OSC did capital in the previous on.
That's me.
Transportation, what she said is a lot of times they find recommendations for improvement.
What they were going to do for transportation is look at the different routes and match up the routes with the driver hours. And for example, if there's an aide on the bus, the hours of the aide should be matching the hours of the driver, should match up with whatever route they've been scheduled for. So that was kind of thing that she's.
There's also inventory items and, other things.
I tend to go towards the things that have the larger dollars in them. One area you have the one test.
Usually there's one. Kind of revolves. So it's written out, there's real change from year to
No,
year.
they don't.
We're talking about capital budget being a big number. What is the busing budget for busing?
Probably is part of the bus and actually nothing for discrepancy.
So they're on the routes, pay scales and stuff.
They're going to match the routes up to the hours to make sure that that job. So
And the
that's
times are actually being worked rather than additional time being punched or whatever, time cards or whatever.
I wish there was another area within personnel that would focus on that hasn't already been covered, just because it's such a large part of our budget.
There's no much time you spend over time.
But it would essentially go back to what's 2 years ago.
Matching contracts and stipends and things like that.
And again, the OSC did review them.
Our last visit,
Yeah.
all in
They
this.
went into detail.
it's such a large part of our budget. I'd like to see her go back and find another area that maybe she hasn't covered before, so that we're not wasting time, but it's just such a large part of our budget that, and the number of transactions per employee is huge. So I think it warrants another look.
Something else.
Something else personal, but I would look to firm to take a look and make a recommendation for something that's different than we've already done, but still stays within payroll.
Talk to them, see their recommendation, please.
Well, they were looking for us to give the category, and then the next step then is for her to go and poke around a little bit and find an area. So that, I think, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's how that was supposed to work.
Yeah, she recommended transportation.
Right.
Fine. Then, I guess, since you're with the audit committee personnel, you want to do my personnel?
Item H, approve risk assessment testing and personnel. Recommendation motion that upon the recommendation of the audit committee, the board approve further system testing in the area of personnel. This is part of the internal audit mandate by the state of New York.
Second.
Discussion?
Should payroll and personnel?
Oh, payroll and personnel, sorry.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item I, accept donation of smartboard and beanbag lounger. Recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, a donation of a smartboard and beanbag lounger for the PTA Scholastic Book Fair be accepted. The donation is valued at $2,298.98.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item J, approve budget increase. And recommended motion that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the 2011-2012 budget be increased by $521.78 to $26,169,334.89 to account for the increased revenue. Note the district received $355.47 from Target for the junior-senior high school, $148.86 from the varsity club for cross-country invitational supervision, and $17.45 for Abibo for GLP. Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I just have a couple things. I passed out to everyone the miscellaneous statistics from the junior senior high school that we've been keeping since 1998. They're there. If you want to take a look, and if you have any questions, give me a call or something. Let me know or email. We can maybe discuss those at a future date. So we have them all. Try to keep those updated on an annual basis. The other piece of other document. I killed a couple trees this week. In that is a budget information book that we do every year, and we're starting the budget process. We're talking more and more about it as we move through next month and the month after, and we'll keep getting a little bit more intense every month. So this is a start. Give you a little bit of background, a little bit of history. Included in the back of that budget information book is a section that Steve asked for, Mr. Cerny asked for, in regards to faculty, staff, information, number of hours worked, salaries, contact, number of students in contact, and contact time. So that's all there. If anybody has any questions, that's at the end of the book. And as we said when we first started doing this, it's a work in progress, and we keep adding different sections to it each year, trying to give you a little bit more information and history. So that's there if you have any questions. For it, I know we may have it someplace else on the agenda, but I also put out in the Friday memo that part of our goals, action plan, was to try to plan some type of town hall meeting for the board. So I just throw that out if there's any interest in doing that. I think I throw it out a date in January, and in the meantime, the infrastructure committee found a date that met the school calendar and their calendars for January 19th. I think that was also the date that I thrown out. That's my thought, proposal would be is maybe we can do the infrastructure committee and do it maybe half an hour earlier and do town hall committee right after and one more night.
What did you have in mind for this town?
I thought maybe a little bit of, again, as I talked about that, the plan was an opportunity for board members to give some thoughts possibly about the strengths and challenges for the district as they see it as individuals, and get some feedback from the community as we start moving into serious budget opportunity for the board, and again helps us meet the goal to give one more opportunity for the community to come out and meet the board and school administration. So that was my thought in regards to shaping the committee. Depending on who's there and the questions that they have, it's going to be a little bit of a brief statement on the part of each board member.
We have to think about the agenda for that. I mean, just doesn't work for them, but not function that well. We have to have an agenda and all that, so that's, I'm not comfortable looking at that date yet until we figure out an agenda and approach to it. We do have open forums now, but we have to structure it properly.
So if anybody has, and again, not that it has to be that format or that type, but again, if anybody has any other thoughts or ideas about how we can get the board out and accessible at another opportunity, another time, let me know.
What I'd like to do, I have offered small groups. I mean, it's very easy for small groups to get together and have good discussions about things. A large forum with questions being launched out there is not as good of a arena, if you will, for an honest discussion. So we'll take a look at this date for a open meeting, if you will. But certainly offer anybody who wants to have small groups get together at any of us, please let us know.
Okay, there we go. Maybe it would make sense to have some different budget scenarios presented, different assumptions made, and then scenarios presented for each assumption, and then present those to the public and get public input on budget scenarios.
We certainly could do something like that. We could also, I know other districts have just, again, going back to the open forum pieces, have allowed the community an opportunity just to really talk about the budget, what their thoughts are, pros, cons, things like that. I mean, some of the things we could hear here, but it gives another opportunity, another venue that's just not business. People want to sort of come and sit through a business meeting and at the same time being able to offer their opinion. So we could do something like that. We'll talk about it. People have some other ideas to throw out, and we'll try to get something planned. That's all that I have this morning.
Your comment that this is a public forum, my understanding of this meeting is really, it's our meeting, it's a private meeting held in public. The town hall meeting is something that's open for everybody. To be a lot more question and answer. Right now, everything's set for 3 minutes, but in my opinion, I like the town hall meeting better.
I think an open forum makes a lot of sense, but I think it needs to have some structure. One of the things that I've seen that talking to some of the school board members from other schools have done is they've done like roundtables. And so let's say we would have a cafeteria, let's say, and let's say there would be maybe 8 people at a table, and they would talk amongst themselves about their ideas, and then they would appoint a representative to be their spokesperson, and that person would come and say, here's what my group thought made the most sense, or here's where we thought that we might achieve cost savings, so that it wasn't everyone all at one time. It had some structure to it. So I agree with Pat that I think we need to have some sort of open dialogue. It needs to be structured in a way that it's going to be productive in the end. So maybe we could do something in terms of roundtable, and then have spokespeople come up. One of the other things I just read, I don't know if you read in the newspaper this past week, Williamsville just did potentially represent cuts. They were just ideas. They were just to get the ball rolling, to get the process started. And he came up with, I think he came up with 10 million. And talked about it at a board meeting and made his presentation. Obviously, we got a lot of reaction from that because there were a lot of things, a lot of cuts that were on the table. But they were just potential ideas, and he made sure everyone understood that. And then there was a section on the Williamsville website where people could go and give their comments based on what they thought about the specific item. So that's another approach, another way to get. But I think school districts are doing these things now. Not waiting until spring. I think we should too.
Anything else? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Anybody have homes?
The only thing I wasn't there, Mr. Sherman wasn't back here, I think we talked about having a discussion about meeting date, about bringing that up in December.
Right. Thoughts about that?
Really impacted Andy. Meeting day. Really impacted Andy the most.
You got your new work schedule yet?
So Monday, you're still talking about Monday?
When we have your work schedule?
Pardon me?
It's your work schedule. When we have your work schedule?
We're hoping to have it this week, but it's the next week.
Okay.
As soon as I get it wrong,
Okay.
Is it the work schedule, Andy, is it the work schedule that's affecting you not attending on Mondays?
well, work schedule also, but my other commitments on Mondays for the last 20 years. That affects it also.
Because whatever day you have your work schedule come in, that you're at rotating days.
Correct.
Talk about changing the dates.
We selected the date we did due to other work commitments. I have work commitments during the week. Monday's the best day for me. Wednesdays was very difficult for me to make. That's why we looked at changing it to Mondays. I think we had some commitments similar to that, so that's why we moved to Mondays. But if we don't have any new information, I mean, if you have a lot of Monday work things scheduled, you can take a look at that and see how that works out. Because your volunteer stuff.
Absolutely. That was set on before. That's why I ran for this position. It was Wednesdays. Meetings were Wednesdays. It wasn't an issue.
Understandable. Okay. What we can do is we try and put some of the alternate sessions on some other days. That helps, maybe Thursdays or Patty's and Fridays. If you try some Thursdays, and I can make some Thursdays. So for our working sessions, things like that, we can try some of those days. Maybe some budget meetings.
You're saying weekdays?
I'm sorry?
On Thursdays.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Anything that's not already scheduled. As the things that come up, we can take a look at, maybe put some Thursdays or something.
We have the work schedule.
Look at them. That's where, take a look at what you guys can see how we fit in.
I'll also check for you, something tells me that, this, I don't know if it's read it lately, that the school boards, Erie County school boards, some school boards that stay away from Thursday. Because they have all their stuff on Thursday, but I'll investigate. At least that.
All right, anybody have anything else?
Discussion on meeting date.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I want to say first, I have no problem with Harbor Seacrest, but it's my understanding there should be a letter of engagement or terms of engagement letter. And I would like to see that letter before anything is signed and sent back. I think part of it, something I expressed last month, my displeasure in the way the policy went. I think we violated our policy in the hiring.
How is that a violation?
If you read the policy, and I can't give you the numbers, but it's to put out bids.
We have a policy to put out bids.
You put out a policy, and you look at low bidder, or you look at money. But again, I expressed it last month, and the board accepted it. But I think on the terms of engagement, the letter that is sent from the attorney that is signed to Quebec, I just like to review that letter before it's signed and sent back.
All right. days, we'll sign it, send it back, or can provide you a copy.
That seems strange to me that there's a number of things that go on. I guess the privileged board members or some board members get, and the rest of us aren't allowed to see. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, there's nothing privileged about it. The terms were exactly outlined in their proposal, and the signature was required, my signature was required.
The letter of engagement was online?
The terms that are outlined in the engagement letter are outlined in the proposal.
I believe that's something that the board should have reviewed before it was signed and sent back. And I guess I'll go look again. I mean, it's like, maybe it's with all the emails you sent, you sent me, that I checked again, I never got.
I didn't say anything about any emails back.
Well, last month you told me how you sent me notices on all the meetings, Steve.
Anything else, Pat?
Well, that's my question. It was my request, and I still think it was my right. You know, I see that letter. Can I have a copy of it?
Yes, I said Barbara provided a copy, yes.
Okay, I appreciate it. And then we'll talk about that next month.
I would say, as the chairman of the legal committee, if you have a specific policy in mind that you're saying that was violated, I'd like to know what policy that was.
Policy, we put out bids.
What policy number is that?
In everything, as I said last month, it was supposed to be a money thing. And again, I have nothing against Harbor Secrets, but I brought it before. If it's a money thing, why didn't you take the low bidder?
Okay, but if you're going to accuse us of violating policy,
Then please. The policy. I'll get the policy. I'll be glad to give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, he's not accusing you or Steve violating policy. We all voted on it, so we all voted. We all violated policy, so none of us caught it. So I don't think that's the issue. He's not accusing anyone. He's just saying we violated, as a board, we violated the policy. And I read it too, because I don't know the number. It's in the policy manual. I can get it for you tomorrow. I'll email it to Ron. He can email it to you.
Anyone else have any? I make a motion to enter executive session to discuss ministerial contract. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you for attending.